Well, good afternoon from the Apple Bowl here in Wenatchee as we get ready for Lacrosse on the NCW Life Channel. I'm Eric Gransterman, joined by my partner here for the broadcast, Thomas Bass. Thomas, give us a little bit of your background because this is definitely the expert for the broadcast today.
Of course. Well, I was born here in Wenatchee. Started playing lacrosse when I was about freshman in high school. Originally started off as goalie, worked my way up to midfield by the time I got to college. Went to Adams State University, small school down there in Colorado, and then came back, coached with the high school for a little while. I'm now coaching the middle school team.
Okay, so we've got a player, collegiate player, and a coach. So, yeah, the expert here. We've got the Wenatchee Valley Thunder for the very first time on television and getting some love from the media here. We love this, and thanks to Joel Reiner, who really got this thing going back in February. He came up to me and says, have you guys ever thought about doing lacrosse? And I said, no, but why not? So here we are today as Wenatchee Valley hosts Lewis and Clark. Wenatchee Valley was on the road last night with a 16-2 win at Selah. In parlance, as far as lacrosse, it's kind of a blowout, isn't it?
Just a little bit. The better team certainly won there and won handily.
Well, it's going to be a fun one here today. We're going to talk to the coach for Wenatchee Valley as we continue with the pregame show. It's looking to be a gorgeous day for lacrosse here today at the Apple Bowl in Wenatchee. And we'll come back with the coach for the Wenatchee Valley Thunder right after this on the NCW Life Channel. Our pregame show continues now as we get ready for lacrosse on the NCW Life Channel with the Wenatchee Valley Thunder playing host to Lewis and Clark. And now joining me is Brandon Parker, the head coach for Wenatchee Valley. What, third year as a head coach? How many years now?
This is my third year as the head coach, fifth year here with the team.
Okay. Let's talk first of all about last night. You guys were on the road and had a lot of success last night.
Yeah, absolutely. We looked really good last night. We had a 16-2 victory over Selah. The team looked great. We didn't have as much practice time this year because of all the weather and the snow, but we looked really good. Every aspect of the game was solid. The kids worked hard. So we're coming into this game pretty fired up, and the momentum is going. So, we're playing a very good team today. So this is going to be a different day. It's going to be a pretty good matchup. So couldn't be a better day to be playing here on our home field at the Apple Bowl, and looking forward to it.
Well, we were bringing the cameras out, so we brought the sunshine with us too, Brandon.
Finally, thank you. Right. Usually my luck with the first couple weeks of the season, it's raining and it's cold, but this season has been different than any other, that's for sure. Clearing snow and trying to play lacrosse with white balls in snow is pretty difficult.
Well, and I see even the snowbanks that were behind the goal the other night at practice are gone, so did you find any leftover balls that were?
Yeah, we've actually asked the soccer team and other teams that are out here playing to just pile up the lacrosse balls that they find in the snow. So, yeah.
Well, let's talk about this club real quick. I was at practice the other night. You guys gave me a lacrosse 101. We're going to have more on that coming up at halftime. But talk about your team. You've got a mix of young and some experience, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have we graduated a lot of seniors a couple years ago. We had a very young team last year. This year, I think we have 4 or 5 seniors. The majority of the team are sophomore, and we've got a lot of freshmen on the JV team. So it is a younger team. Most of the returning players will be back next year and even the year after that. So it is a younger team, but these kids have been playing lacrosse for many years here in the Valley, and they're pretty fine-tuned, motivated young men. So.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Absolutely.
Well, they've had a chance to play a jamboree, a couple of shortened games, and then the road game last night. So this is the home opener, right?
This is it. First home game on our beautiful field, and there's a lot of excitement. We know we have a lot of fans that'll be here, a lot of guys coming from out of town. We've sent out emails to everybody that doesn't live here to go onto the website and watch the game. So you'll probably see a lot of that going on, especially my family and friends in California. They'll be watching.
Fantastic.
So. Yeah, and so hi, Mom. I know you're watching. Thank you. Appreciate it.
You got to get that in there.
You always do, right? I've always wanted to say hi, Mom. So I know she'll be watching. So, yeah, we're excited about today's game.
Well, best of luck. Keep everybody healthy. That's the most important thing.
Absolutely, and we have great officials, and they do keep the game safe. They keep the kids safe, and we should have a good showing today.
Right.
So
sounds good. There's Brandon Parker. He's the head coach for the Wenatchee Valley Thunder. We'll come back and take a look at the lineups and talk a little bit more strategy about this one as we get ready for Faceoff here at the Apple Bowl in Wenatchee. It's lacrosse on the NCW Life Channel. We'll be right back. And welcome back once again here to the Apple Bowl as we get ready for this matchup between the Wenatchee Valley Thunder and Lewis and Clark Tigers. And we are just about ready to go here along with Thomas Bass, Eric Granstrom with you. And let's take a look at the starting lineups here for head coach Brandon Parker. He's assisted by Dylan Hummel, Jeffrey Rounds, and Robert Warner. The starters here for Wenatchee, let's start on the attack side. It's Gray Coldy. He wears number 9. Kyle Schmaltz wears number 15. And Connor Tilley wears number 30. The midfielders for Wenatchee Valley for this first game include Easton Hudson. He wears number 23. Also, Jack Myers wears number 80, and Nathan McCarthy wears number 82. The defenders back trying to keep things out of the goal for the Wenatchee Valley Thunder today. Wearing number 2 is Sage Kreider. Also at defense today, Cole Hansen wears number 14, and Jax Tucker is a starter. He wears number 55. The goalie for the Wenatchee Valley Thunder today wearing number 88 is Kyle Robertson. Meanwhile, the starters here for the Lewis and Clark Tigers on attack will be Will Ladyman. He wears number 6. Asa Erbst wears number 17. And Peyton Morris is number 42. In the midi position here today for Lewis and Clark to start this contest, wearing number 8 is Thomas Halverson. Dylan Soth is number 10. And wearing number 55 is Matt Miller. On the defensive side, Rory Babin wears number 44. Blaine Gustafson is number 32. And Joe Showers, number 18. The goalie and the start of the game here for Lewis and Clark is number 92, Ben Fox. Let me bring in my broadcast partner. By the way, the head coach for the Lewis and Clark Tigers is Damon Sanders, and the assistant coach is Tom Higley, whom you know pretty well, don't you?
Yeah, the Higley family. So I played with their eldest son, Thomas Higley. He was a freshman when I was a senior. He was just a little scrappy kid running around out there. Went away to college, came back, and then he turned into quite the player.
And his younger brother plays for Wenatchee Valley.
Yep, Ben Higley.
Okay, Ben had a good game, by the way, last night as Wenatchee Valley went on the road and picked up a big 16-2 win at Selah. And Ben was able to get in the scoring column last night with a couple of goals, 2 points in the game. The big scorer last night for Wenatchee Valley, Connor Tilley, had 4 goals and an assist, got 5 points last night. That's a good night, isn't it?
It's a great night. There's nothing more you can hope for, especially from a kid like Connor Tilley. I mean, when he started out, he had such heavy feet, wasn't able to work his way around the crease, and then he's just developed into such a dynamic player for Wenatchee.
The players on the field right now, the starters for both, getting the instructions from our officials from U.S. Lacrosse. Our officials today, the referee is David Timmons. He's out of Yakima, and we've got a couple from Wenatchee here today. Steve Junker is our field judge, and a shadow today, someone who's out there to gain more experience. He has some lacrosse officiating experience, but picking up a little bit more today is Brian Walker, also from Wenatchee. So that's our officiating crew. Thomas, for those who are unfamiliar with lacrosse, tell us the basic gist of this. You got a ball and trying to get it into the net, correct?
Yeah, that's about it. No, I'm just kidding. No, so the basic premise of it is there are 3 people at each position, 3 defenders, 3 midfielders, 3 attackmen. And then the midfielders are allowed to go back and forth over the center line. You take turns being on offense and defense. Then winner has whoever has the most goals at the end.
Okay, all right. We play 4 12-minute quarters.
Correct.
Similar to football, the duration of the quarter is a little bit longer than football. We were talking the other day in the office about this, kind of a combination of ice hockey, soccer, and basketball is kind of how we can look at this?
Yeah, absolutely. There's zone and man defense, much like in basketball. You're allowed to go behind the goal, much like in hockey. And then the field's played on a soccer field. I mean, it really is kind of a combination of all of them. If you're new to lacrosse and you understand a zone defense in basketball and a triangle offense in basketball, you'll pick up on it pretty easily. Okay,
and the 110 yards length is the field length, 60 yards wide, so that's exact same dimensions as a soccer field. The goal is 15 yards from the end line, and that's something to discuss too. When we have a shot on goal, the ball goes out of the end line. Talk about that race that happens for the end line and possession and how that works.
Gotcha. So when the ball is passed and the ball rolls out of bounds, the alternating team gets it. Whoever threw it has to turn the ball over. On a shot, that's not the case. Whoever is closest to the ball when it goes out of bounds, when there is a shot on cage, and the referee will mention that. He will call that, and he will say, oh, that was a shot. Whoever is closest to the ball, that team retains possession.
Okay, we're ready for face-off here. Similar to hockey, the two players put their sticks down, mirroring each other. The official will put the ball between them. We've got Nathan McCarthy for Wenatchee, Thomas Halverson for Lewis and Clark, and LC will get the ball first on the face-off. And the attack by Thomas Halverson here, and a shot right away, and the ball will go past the inline, and Lewis and Clark will maintain possession. With it back there now is Asa Erbst, and he will come up and be fended off by Cole Hansen for Wenatchee Valley, as the official will direct. I guess they have to bring the ball in where it went out?
Yes, an approximation. There's something called a quick restart. As soon as both of your feet are set on the field, the referee can choose to blow the whistle right then. It keeps the game moving very quickly.
Okay, so the attack here is by Lewis and Clark. They're in the darker gray uniforms with the orange numbers, and that ball will go out of bounds. And so Wenatchee was closest to it, or how did that one work, Thomas?
That one was a pass.
Okay.
So the pass rolled out of bounds, so the alternating team gets possession.
Ah, okay. So if you miss the pass and it goes out of bounds. Now, is the goalie limited on how far they can come outside of the box?
No, there's no limitation for the goalie except for his comfort level. He can come across the middle of the field if he so chooses, but one of the midfielders has to stay back in his stead.
Wenatchee on the attack now in the offensive zone, the attack zone. Connor Tilley with it on the right side. We mentioned about his play last night in the win at Selah. They'll go back behind the net to Kyle Schmaltz, that is, and they'll bring it out top to Cole Loomis. Loomis will circle it around the outside as they whip it around to Roby Jorgensen, as Wenatchee looking for a hole inside, and the shot taken and the goal scored by Cole Loomis, and Wenatchee Valley on the board first. So good rotation around the outside for Wenatchee Valley, and then a cutter in Cole Loomis. I assume that's what you would call that.
Absolutely.
Okay, and so Loomis puts the Wenatchee Valley Thunder on the board first at 10:38 of the first quarter. First period, first quarter?
Quarter.
Okay. As I get my own nomenclature down here. Jake Reiner will be out there to face off for Wenatchee Valley, and it looks like it's still Thomas Halverson for Lewis and Clark on the face-off here. And you tend to have face-off specialists, do you not?
Absolutely. The crazy thing about Wenatchee right now is the youth that they have throughout the board, and then young Ryder here is one of those guys. Last year on a JV when he was just a freshman, he was dominating the face-off game. We had to bring him up in order to just to get him some reps that were worthwhile.
Well, Wenatchee Valley wins the face-off here as they'll go on the attack. Jake Reiner with the ball. He'll give it up to Mason Dahlbeck as they work it around to the right side. Connor Tilley with it. And then they'll go back behind goal to Kyle Schmaltz. Schmaltz will hand it off to Gray Coldy. Off to Schmaltz. Schmaltz with a close-in shot. Lost the handle of it. And the ball comes trickling near side. Wenatchee trying to maintain possession. Good body control there for Roby Jorgensen. Ball near the sideline, and it does go out of bounds. It's out to Lewis and Clark. You'll see the substitutions on the fly here for both, similar to hockey, ice hockey. Easton Hudson now comes into the game for the Wenatchee Valley Thunder. Meanwhile, on the attack, a fumble of the pass attempt there for Lewis and Clark as Thomas Halverson can't hang on to it. Ball still on the ground loose. Let's see who's going to come up with it. It is Wenatchee Valley. As the Thunder have it, Cole Hansen came up with that loose ball there. They'll get it back to the goaltender, or the goalie, Kyle Robertson. He'll bring it out as they come near side with it to near midfield. Now, how long do they have to get it out of their defensive end across into the box?
Once the goalie has possession, or I guess in that case, once the defender has the possession, they have 20 seconds to get it to the midline, to the 50. And then from there, once that has started, there's a new clock, 20 seconds to get it inside the opposing box.
All right, Wenatchee Valley on the attack here with Connor Tilley with it behind the net. He'll come out, defended tightly there. Double team, shot attempt, and sprinting back behind. The possession will be maintained by Wenatchee Valley because closest to it was Gary Coldy. Near side with it to Connor Tilley. Tilley comes out top as they circle it back around the 35-yard line is where we'll mark it as far as the football field delineations out there. Back behind the net to Gary Coldy. Off to Tilley. Tilley comes near side. then out top for a shot attempt. Nice block by the goalie there for Lewis and Clark. Cutter Wilkins with the shot, but a nice job of defending it by Ben Fox, the goalie for Lewis and Clark. Now they're going to come on the attack, and a good pass up to Matt Miller. Miller with the shot and the score. Was it Miller or did he get it off? I think it was number 17, Asa Herbst on the shot. And it is a goal for Lewis and Clark. We're tied at 1. And that goal comes at 8:22 remaining here in the first quarter.
Yeah, Wenatchee just got drawn out of position on a fast break. You don't generally want to slide up the field towards that. What happened was somebody went too early, left your goalie hung out to dry. Attackman right on the crease, easy goal.
So we're all knotted up at 1, and on the faceoff for Wenatchee, they'll go back to the original faceoff man, Nathan McCarthy. And we've got somebody else different in there for Lewis and Clark on this particular faceoff. Can't see his number right now. Looks like 23. If that is, it's Mitchell Sanders. Face-off, control. Let's see. It was loose. Now they're going to blow the whistle and say a kick ball, evidently. And so it will go out to Lewis and Clark. And that was Sanders on the control there on the face-off. And he'll bring it into the box for Lewis and Clark. Working to our right as you watch it here, 1-1 tie game in the first period here between Wenatchee and Lewis and Clark, and the Tigers now on the attack as Peyton Morris had it down in the corner. He'll bring it back out top to Sanders. Sanders works it around the top of the box. And then once you're in the box, Thomas, do you have to stay in the box or is it okay to come out?
No, once you've established possession, you've moved the ball from defense to offense, you can do pretty much whatever you want with it.
Dylan Soft with it. He'll pass it off into the hands of Curran Evans. Evans, right-siders are looking against that defense. Now, it described the defense when actually looks like a man-on-man defense here.
Yes, they are running a man defense with a crease slide. That means whenever there's a help inside or there is a shot or something that is appears threatening, the crease man will be the one assisting in the defense there.
Well, shot attempt taken by Lewis and Clark, and evidently the Tigers had position as it went across the inline. Asa Earps back there, who has the goal for the Tigers, will bring the ball in as he's defended tightly there for Wenatchee by Cole Hansen. And they'll whip it back out top into Curran Evans. Evans with the cradle, across the field pass, and a shot taken, but missed by Will Ladyman. And the ball goes out of bounds, but back there again, Lewis and Clark closest to the end line, so they'll maintain possession on that missed shot. So several attempts on goal here for Lewis and Clark in this first period of play. One to show for it so far. Asa Erbst again running things back there behind goal as he'll get it up along the far sideline. Bringing it back out towards the top is Mitchell Sanders, as they'll, I assume that's a reset of the offensive play here, similar to basketball.
Yep, very similar.
Curran Evans with it. Now down to the corner it goes to Peyton Morris. Morris back behind. I think he was waiting for Evans to take that ball. Now it's loose out near midfield, and Wenatchee Valley after it, and the Thunder trying to maintain possession. Nice job of swiping it back in the field of play, and picking it up is Wenatchee Valley. Gary Colby takes it. He'll pass across over on the offensive set now for Andrew Carlson, and we got a whistle and a timeout taken. Okay, timeout taken by Wenatchee Valley. Evidently, coaching staff seeing something they want to work on maybe offensive end a little bit more.
Right. More than anything, I'm imagining Coach Parker just wanted to settle them down. It was a loose ball for a while. They were swatting at it. Nobody could really get a good handle on it. And he just wants to get his guys together, make sure everybody's on the same page, get set up, and hopefully send this game 2-1.
Okay. Typically, how long is a timeout? Is it a 30? Is it a 60?
About 30 seconds.
30 seconds.
Yep.
Okay. So
most of the time, it's up to the referees.
Okay.
If it's a quick one, if they just said timeout just to get breath and they want it back out there quickly, all depends.
Well, you're watching Wenatchee Valley Lacrosse here on the NCW Live channel, and our broadcast today sponsored by Walkabout Grill in Wenatchee and Leavenworth. Take a walk on the wild side. And Leonard Evans Used Car Superstore, where the name always means a great deal. We appreciate also our sports sponsors, AC Checker Taxi Cab, Neil's Boots and Shoes, and Quick Lube and Tune. Eric Granstrom along with Thomas Bast here on what's turned out to be a lovely day here in the Wenatchee Valley for this first lacrosse lacrosse of 4 broadcasts we'll do here on the NCAA Live channel, and giving you something a little bit different in flavor here as we bring you lacrosse on the Wenatchee Valley's television station. And lacrosse, how long now? 15 years in Wenatchee Valley? When did it first start?
Something like that.
Okay.
So I do know that it was started by the Schock family, Brad and Karen Schock, local businessmen and women here. Their son was moving up from Oregon, and he didn't like Wenatchee because there was no lacrosse.
Oh.
And in order to, and as the story goes, as I was told, in order to get him on board for moving up here, they promised him that they would start the lacrosse league. So they did. And then here we are, over 10 years later. I know that for sure.
How about that? All right, so Wenatchee Valley after the timeout with the shot. And the attempt by Nathan McCarthy goes a little bit high. Wenatchee Valley with the deep man back there, and Ben Higley will bring it into play as he'll bring it around to the left side of the goal to Connor Tilley. Back out top it comes to Nathan McCarthy. McCarthy cross over to Cole Loomis. Loomis off to Jorgensen. Then they're going to go for a cutter. Ball missed on the pass attempt, so chasing it back outside the box is Cole Loomis. He'll pick it up before it gets to midfield. Now, is there over and back if the ball goes over the midfield line? Or
yes, that rule was just enacted only about 2 years ago.
Oh, nice attempt in front on the shots by Cole Loomis. Ball got in the crease, was loose there for a minute, and a battle for it. Ben Higley was right there, but Wenatchee Valley not able to score, but they do maintain possession. Shot from right dead center in front, missed by Nathan McCarthy, and the ball goes past the inline out of bounds, but will be out to Wenatchee. Gray Coldy back there will bring it in for the Wenatchee Valley Thunder as we're tied at 1. 5:07 to go here in this first quarter of play. The attack in front right there, dead center again on the shot was Connor Tilley, and somehow he was not able to get the goal. Lewis and Clark on the defense. Ball lost for a minute by the defender back there. Wenatchee comes up with a turnover. Another golden chance here for the Wenatchee Valley Thunder.
Yeah,
back behind goal is Connor Tilley. Go ahead.
Yeah, be looking for Connor Tilley back here. He's had 2 open opportunities on goal and has not been able to connect. He's looking to get one here.
Boy, Wenatchee Valley, not for a lack of effort on the attacks here. And the shots, they're just not able to get it to go right now. It comes left side of the goal to Tilley. Tilley with a shot, again high, and it skates out of bounds. But right there is Ben Higley to get the ball back in play for the Wenatchee Valley Thunder. Several shots on goal, but just one to show for it so far for the Wenatchee Valley Thunder, who scored first at the 10:38 mark of the first quarter, but have been held scoreless since. Wenatchee Valley back on the attack here with Nathan McCarthy with it. Cross he'll come, and a whipped low shot, a low high by Cole Loomis. And again, up to the task is Ben Fox in goal for Lewis and Clark. Now, they tried to do an outlet pass there, but it's fumbled away, and Wenatchee Valley picks it up and will keep it in the attack end. One thing we should mention, that the midpoint line, you see some players that are staying back. They have to stay on the other side of the midfield line, right?
Yes, that's correct. The defense has to maintain 4 people on that side of the field. The offense has to maintain 3 people on that side of the field.
Well, this first quarter mostly being played in the Lewis and Clark end, and another shot by Wenatchee Valley. Robbie Jorgensen with it. Robbie Jorgensen, I should say. And that shot is blocked nicely by Ben Fox. And now some substitutions being made for both clubs in there. We got a breakaway attempt. Shot a little bit low and skips off of the stick by Kyle Robertson, the goalie for Wenatchee Valley. Lewis and Clark still on the attack, though, as Wenatchee Valley making the exchange here with bodies coming into the contest. Some fresh legs out there, and the attack now with Dylan Soff for Lewis and Clark. He's fended off by Cole Loomis. Loomis, you see, pushed the stick out and hit him, so that's a check. Is that, at what point is it legal, not legal?
All right, so as you check an offensive player, you're not allowed to hit them in the back, and you have to hit them above the waist and below the neck.
There's a wicked shot by Nathan McCarthy. Oh, my goodness. I think Lewis and Clark, the player that got knocked over, tea-kettled there, is Dylan Soth, and he's looking for the license plate on that truck. Holy cow.
Yep, that'll happen. It's a full contact sport. Now, McCarthy gets a penalty for that, and I don't believe that was malicious. It was just a heads-up play. Quickly happened. He got hit just a little high, sent a player to the ground.
So he'll have to spend time here on the near sideline in the penalty box, if you will. That's a substitution box, penalty box, kind of a specialty box, right?
Yep, you would call it the penalty box, absolutely.
Okay. All right, so Lewis and Clark with the ball behind the net here, behind the goal for on the attack side, as it was Asa Herbst who had it, and then a shot and another goal for the Tigers. From the near side, it was Sam Madsen, the sophomore. Or excuse me, no, it was Will Ladyman. Will Ladyman with the goal as he got the angle and the shot, and it gets past Kyle Robertson, and Lewis and Clark takes a 2-1 lead.
Yep, just a simple power play. Wenatchee was down a man on that. McCarthy was in the box, so they had to play a box and one. There was a rotation around the wing from the left to the X-man to the right. There was nobody there on that. Easy goal.
So Lewis and Clark certainly up to the challenge here on the road today against Wenatchee Valley. Has a 2-1 lead in this first quarter of play, and again, as you mentioned, off balance. So when you are playing a man down, can you bring one of your defenders across midfield, or you still have to play with that lack of a body in there?
You have to play with the lack of a body.
Okay.
The game effectively goes from 6-on-6 to 5-on-6 when there is a penalty.
Okay, just like ice hockey.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll be waiting for the penalty to be served. I think, well, once the goal scored, then the penalty is wiped off, right?
Correct.
Okay.
In most cases, there is such thing as a blatant penalty or unnecessary roughness that will be non-releasable.
Okay.
And then the referee will signify that at the beginning of the penalty.
So Ladyman with it, the one who just scored the goal for Lewis and Clark, out top to Soth. Soth cross field pass over to Halverson, skips away from him, but he's able to track it down before it goes out of bounds on the far sideline. Halverson looking down left side. He'll get it off to Morris. Peyton Morris with it over there. Fended nicely by the defenders for Wenatchee Valley. Another attack and another shot and another goal scored. Dylan Soth on the goal for Lewis and Clark.
Yeah, Wenatchee's defense just needs to be communicating better. They had a small substitution for the Lewis and Clark side. They tried to double the ball. It didn't work. They got the ball off to the man coming onto the field. No communication, no adjustments. Easy goal.
So the officials marking down the goal and the scorer, who was Dylan Soth, his first goal of the game at 1:27 left here in the first quarter of play. 3-1 as our score. Lewis and Clark on top of Wenatchee Valley. And it looks like it's McCarthy out there on the faceoff for Wenatchee Valley. McCarthy swiped, but then lost the vision of the ball, and coming up with it was his faceoff opponent, Mitchell Sanders. See where the ball is on the far side up there. Sanders still with it as he gets it in the box here for Lewis and Clark. Pass across to Dylan Soth. Soth comes near side along the wing to Ladyman. Ladyman picked up there defensively by Sam Yunker for Wenatchee Valley, so they'll circle it back out top. Soth had it. Now they'll go left side over into the hands of Carter Kuhn. Kuhn swips it up and the ball loose, and a nice job defensively by McCarthy, who comes up with it for Wenatchee Valley. He'll bring it across into the attack end. McCarthy looking for help, feeds it down low into the hands of Tilley. Tilley fumbled it for a moment, got it back, and now behind the goal with a whip around shot, not off the mark by Gray Coldy, and the ball loose behind the goal, and Lewis and Clark comes up with it. It's Curran Evans who had it, but then Wenatchee Valley able to force the turnover as Tilley comes up with it for the Thunder. Tilley tried to throw it out, but lost the handle on the ball. It goes behind him up through the end line, so a turnover for Wenatchee Valley. And a bad pass for Lewis and Clark, and Wenatchee Valley comes up with the ball. A deflected pass attempt there from Wenatchee by Ben Higley, and back behind goal again, trying to get it over in the corner is Connor Tilley, and we get a whistle, and that's the end of the first quarter of play. So Wenatchee Valley, some things to think about here as we get ready for the second. We'll take a 60-second break here on the broadcast and come back after one. It is Lewis and Clark 3, Wenatchee Valley 1. You're watching Wenatchee Valley Thunder Lacrosse on the NCW Life Channel. Asa Earps, Will Lederman, Dylan Soth, all with goals in that first quarter here for Lewis and Clark. Cole Loomis with the lone goal for Wenatchee. It's a 3-1 contest along with Thomas Bass. Eric Granstrom with you here at the Apple Bowl in Wenatchee. Now, as we change quarters, do we change into the field or do we still go the same direction?
Change into the field.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
And that'll happen every quarter and at the half as well.
All right. So the Wenatchee Valley Thunder will defend the goal to our left. The official looking at one of the sticks here for Wenatchee Valley. What are they looking at? He looked like he took a piece of webbing off of it.
What he was doing was using a tape measure to make sure that the stick was legal. Now, something that's fun about lacrosse is the heads get very warped by the way that you play the game. Every time you go to the ground, they get bent a little bit. Players often, or not often, but players will sometimes manufacture or warp their heads intentionally to give them an unfair advantage. The referee was just checking that.
Gotcha. So it'll be Jake Reiner on the face-off here for Wenatchee Valley. Thomas Halverson for Lewis and Clark. The official here on the near side just checking with the scores table to make sure everything's good to go. Got everybody matched up. And you see the official out there, David Timmons, with his shadow right behind him. So 2 officials for lacrosse. And we're ready for the face-off, and the battle ensues. The ball whipped forward, so not your typical lacrosse move there on the face-off, as I understand it. Usually try to whip it back to your own teammates, but Wenatchee Valley comes up with it. Jake Reiner, who won it, then is knocked down. Let's see if that's a foul against Lewis and Clark. And they are going to throw the flag, and they're going to say tripping. Okay, so tripping is the penalty, and so now Wenatchee Valley will have the advantage. We saw Lewis and Clark earlier on the advantage, able to take advantage of that player up situation and come up with a goal. So we'll see if Wenatchee Valley can do the same here as Jake Reiner stays in there, has the ball over on the far side. And you call that the alley when you're outside the box on the outside there by the sideline?
Yeah, that's correct. And it's any area that wouldn't be considered directly in front of the goal. That's where a defense is trying to funnel the ball. Okay, and a shot taken, and it hit the outside of the netting on a shot by Robbie Jorgensen. And Lewis and Clark with the defense, they get the ball back. Blaine Gustafson is laid out here at the 35-yard line, and Wenatchee Valley had the ball stripped, but they come up with it. The stick came up a little high on Connor Tilley there. Across the field, it goes on the pass to Coldy. Coldy looking for an angle here. Wenatchee still on the player up, man up situation. Comes out top to McCarthy. McCarthy right side to Jorgensen. Jorgensen backs away for the defense, and now we'll start to move to his left. Everybody will move away from him as he backs away, trying to get the defense to come out with him, I assume. Jorgensen now on the attack, gets the offense in motion, whips a shot, the ball blocked nicely. Again, Ben Fox doing a great job in goal here for Lewis and Clark. So the Tigers come up with the ball, but Wenatchee Valley on a pass across midfield had a chance at it. Still loose on the ground. Chasing after is Sam Junker, and Wenatchee Valley comes up with it. It is Robbie Jorgensen who gets it into the attacker end for the Wenatchee Valley Thunder. Beautiful sunshine on this Saturday afternoon in the Wenatchee Valley. Thunder kind of feeling a little bit pressure here, trailing at 3-1. Still the man advantage. I believe they are. It's 6-on-6. Okay. So Jake Reiner out there with the ball, fumbled it away, being pestered by the defense, gets past him, passes across, and the ball loose on a check out front of the goal on Andrew Carlson, and now Lewis and Clark in transition. They whip it across, and the ball fumbled away. As trying to come up with it was Matt Miller, and Wenatchee Valley will counter. Cole Hansen comes up the far sideline with the ball in hand. He's got that longer stick. And tough to shoot with that longer stick, but he does. And the ball trickles out of bounds on the end line, and it will be a Wenatchee Valley ball. Not your usual attack stick, is it there? No, not at all. But it was the right move. Nobody looked for him. He was right there. The defense was afraid to come after him. They didn't think he was going to shoot, and he should have shot, and he did.
Andrew Carlson had a shot attempt out front, defended nicely by Lewis and Clark. And now the Tigers on the attack. Fumbling the ball away was Thomas Halverson. And it goes right side. Back to Halverson out top. Shot attempt. It's partially checked out front. Ball loose right in front of the crease. And it is Wenatchee Valley coming up with it. Now we got a whistle.
That's going to be a loose ball push there. No possession on the ball. There was a push in the back, fell to the ground, just changes possessions.
So it goes to Lewis and Clark, trying to find out where the ball is. Okay, over on the far side over there. Mitchell Sanders with it. Oh, except the official says, no, we need to have it here. So it's where that offense takes place, that's where the ball needs to go, or where the whistle sounds, where the ball was, that's where they need to restart play?
They restart play outside of the box.
Okay.
Now, that just makes sure that if there is a penalty right in front of the crease, there isn't a free 1-yard shot. And whenever you reset the ball on offense, the ball is reset outside of the box.
Gotcha. So Lewis and Clark working on the far sideline there. Wenatchee Valley pestering. That's Cole Loomis out there taking on the person with the ball, Mitchell Sanders. Sanders works it down in the corner. He'll come back outside to Sanders. Sanders again picked up by Loomis. Loomis up to the challenge. Then they'll hand it off to Matt Ladyman. Ladyman with a rifle shot. Ball goes past and out the end line, and it's Lewis and Clark maintaining possession. So the Tigers, Asa Herbst will bring it in. Ball loose, and Wenatchee Valley comes up with it. Nice job by Kyle Robertson for Wenatchee Valley, the goalie, coming up with the ball. He'll feed right side on the outlet to Jorgensen. Jorgensen lost the ball and his stick as he was defended there. Tigers come up with it on the attack. Branham goes right side, and a shot taken and a goal scored. Will Ladyman with his second goal of the game, and Lewis and Clark on top 4-1.
Yeah, Wenatchee is just, they're controlling the ball and they're doing good things on offense. Their goals just aren't falling. Lewis and Clark is really taking advantage of the transition game. They're able to push the ball quickly and are getting not lucky, but, efficient with these shots. And they're just falling for them.
So 8:01 remaining in the second. Lewis and Clark on top 4-1 here in this first half of play. And that all started with the attack here, or the attempt by Robbie Jorgensen coming up the near side, completely leveled by two players. Stick goes flying in the air. He loses possession. Lewis and Clark takes advantage.
Yeah, we call that de-twigged or yard sale, all kinds of stuff on the sideline. Anything you can do to get into the other player's head. But, yeah, good stick check by the Lewis and Clark player there.
So it'll be Jake Reiner and Thomas Halverson again on the faceoff here out at midfield. Right in the middle of that Wenatchee Panther logo, and the whistle sounds, and the battle is on, and Ryder wins the faceoff. Now it's a matter of who can chase after the loose ball. Wenatchee Valley had it, and the ball loose again, and flipping it up in the air, they lost the side of it. I suppose that helmet doesn't help you for seeing that one, especially goes up high in the air. Lewis and Clark still trying to maintain possession here. Wenatchee Valley comes up with it, however. As the Thunder, I think that's Carlson back there. No, it is Reiner. Or excuse me, Hudson, who had it. Now it's Kreider. Kreider at midi, comes across the midfield stripe, goes up the left side. He'll pass it off to Coldy. Coldy will bring it back out top as Wenatchee Valley will set the offense to Dahlbeck. Dahlbeck will wait for everybody to get set here. Wenatchee Valley making a substitution as Cutter Wilkins comes in. Cutter in practice the other night, he was about the only one that was about perfect on his shot attempts.
Cutter is an excellent player. Now, he's a player that would normally fit into an attack-style offense, but his athleticism and his speed makes him a great midi.
Tilley with the shot from the left side. It skips out of bounds and will be Wenatchee Valley ball. As the Thunder will hold it, Ben Higley with the ball now. Whistle sounds. He'll get it over across to Cutter. Wilkins. Cutter off, it goes to Tilley, and then back outside to reset the offense for Mccarthy. McCarthy, just a giant among boys out there, and a shot and a goal.
Yep, Mongo shoot ball, Mongo score. That's what they call him on the sideline down there. Now, he is an incredible talent in the fact that he is so massive, so large, and then really has an incredible amount of speed for his size. You see him barrel through the defense there and then take probably what was an 85-mile-an-hour shot about 10 yards from the goalie. The goalie didn't have a chance.
No, that would make you a little nervous in your shoes.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
A big fella coming at you. And then the shot and goal. Nathan McCarthy with the goal at 6:28 left here in the second quarter. And Wenatchee Valley shaves that lead in half here, 4-2. Well, I haven't put it up on the board yet. I assume we're lining up for a face-off, so it is a goal.
Yep, the scoreboard's just a little short.
Okay. So Lewis and Clark changing up who's going to come out here for the face-off. It'll be Jake Reiner again for Wenatchee, and this time Rory Babin will do the face-off for the Tigers. Substitution also for Wenatchee as Robbie Jorgensen goes out on the far side. Near side, number 55, that's Jax Tucker for Wenatchee Valley. Again, the official gets them set up for the face-off. Reiner's done a good job here in this game so far of winning it for Wenatchee Valley. They tip the heads over and try to get it in the pockets, and it is Wenatchee Valley getting that face-off again as Jorgensen comes up with it for the Wenatchee Valley Thunder. Jorgensen will feed back outside to Ryder. Ryder will cut in front, cross it across here near side to McCarthy. McCarthy just had a goal for Wenatchee Valley. They'll feed back behind the net as Tilley has it. Then a shot taken, and the ball skies up high in the air on the miss. And it's right out in front, knocked down by the defense. Wenatchee still maintains possession, though. McCarthy has it. He'll wing one in and score.
It's that big shot from the outside on that small little scuffle. They weren't able to locate the ball. McCarthy came up with it, and then his just overpowering speed just got it right past the goalie.
So another goal, 2 in a row here for Nathan McCarthy in the second quarter. 5:51 left in the quarter, and Wenatchee Valley back into it quickly. 4-3. Substitution here for Lewis and Clark. Into the game comes Jackson Branham. He'll head over to the far side. On the defensive side of midfield for the Tigers. Ready for the face-off again is Reiner for Wenatchee Valley. Ryder trying to dig after it. He comes up with it and then is knocked off the ball as it's still loose at midfield. Tigers going after it. Thunder going after it. And there was a kick attempt there, but they didn't touch the ball. And now the ball still loose at midfield. Who's going to come up with it? It's Wenatchee Valley, who finally scooping it up is Jax Tucker. Tucker near side. Goes down behind the goal to Higley. Ben crosses it across over into the stick of Kyle Schmaltz. Schmaltz over to the far side to Tilley. Tilley on the left. He'll come out top into the stick of Cole Loomis. Loomis looking for a gap in that defense. Wenatchee Valley, after trailing 4-1, has come right back into it. Another shot attempt out front. It's off the mark by Cutter Wilkins, and the Tigers come up with the loose ball as they want to head it up. Carter Kuhn had it. He'll feed it back to the goalie, and we get a whistle and a timeout taken. And I believe this is Lewis and Clark on the timeout. So we'll keep it right here. So what are you seeing out there, Thomas? Wenatchee Valley obviously got a little more aggressive on the offensive end this last few times around.
Well, it's not that they're more aggressive per se. It's just that those 2 goals fell. McCarthy has had several shots up top with those high-powered shots. And then Tilley inside hit the pipe once, fed the goalie an easy save one time. I mean, Wenatchee's controlling the pace of this game. It's just Lewis and Clark is able to capitalize on the transition plays.
That goal, by the way, the face of the goal, what's the dimensions of that? It doesn't look very big. I mean, what, 6 by 6?
Exactly,
like that?
36 square feet.
Okay. So you'd think with that small ball and, 6 feet wide, 6 feet tall, that would be a pretty easy target to hit. But when you're dealing with a net on the end of a stick, it's a little tough to control that sometimes, isn't it?
Well, just by yourself, in your backyard, it's very easy, but it's a full contact sport. There's a 6-foot pole coming down on your wrists every 2 or 3 seconds. It doesn't feel very good. And just imagine a pitcher in baseball trying to whip in a ball 90 miles an hour. If you put pressure on his hips or somebody was, checking him in the gut, he's not going to be able to put it in as fast as he could. Absolutely.
So 1 timeout taken per side here on this sun-splashed afternoon in the Wenatchee Valley. 4-3 the score. Lewis and Clark up by 1 with 4:57 to go in this first half of play. Appreciate you joining us on the NCW Life Channel. Eric Granstrom along with Thomas Bass. We've got Uriah Darby up doing our camera work today. Becca Freemuth back in the studio, our producer engineer. And after the timeout by Lewis and Clark, it will be Tiger ball. On the far side, getting it into play will be Matt Miller. As the officials talk it over here, whistle blows, and we're back in action. And the ball stolen away, tipped out front by Tilley. Tilley trying to maintain possession here for Wenatchee Valley. He does come up with it and slings it across. The ball deflected, then picked up by Higley. Ben whips it up outside into the stick of Kyle Schmaltz, and they'll go back out top and set the offense here for Wenatchee Valley. Jorgensen with it now here on the near side. Jorgensen down right side to Higley. Higley defended back behind the goal. Brings it back outside to Schmaltz. Schmaltz picked up out there, so he'll give it up to Dahlbeck. Dahlbeck backs away. Here comes Wenatchee Valley on the attack again. He'll come right. Looking for the angle. Boy, there was 3 bodies in front, but got the rebound. Shot. Somehow it did not get in, as I think it hit the feet of the goaltender and kicked outside. Ball still loose. Officials say play on, and it is Lewis and Clark coming up with the loose ball, but the pass out towards midfield is knocked away and picked up by Cole Hansen. Hansen is sticked from behind, and no whistle coming. Ball still in play, and Lewis and Clark comes up with it as Dylan Soth has it on the far side. Soth down to the 20-yard line, to the 10, and he'll go back behind goal. Good defense there by Wenatchee's Cole Loomis. He'll feed out front. The ball is partially touched by Wenatchee, and they're going to say it's out to the Thunder. Timeout again, going to be taken by Lewis and Clark. So tell me about what happened down here on the offensive set for Wenatchee Valley.
Well, what happened was Tilley was just all over the ball. He was hustling back up and down the field, got his stick on the ball, wasn't quite able to intercept it, but did deflect it. It was a big-time deflection. Too bad Wenatchee couldn't capitalize on it as they got inside, and then the goalie just made an incredible save twice.
Yeah, Ben Fox, we got to point that out. The goalie for Lewis and Clark has made one spectacular save after another in this game so far.
He's really earning his salt today. I mean, he's just standing in there, and it's not easy, right? I mean, especially with McCarthy, who's keeping you honest from 15 yards out. Every time that ball gets inside, it just seems like Wenatchee's either just missing outside of the pipe, or Ben's making a great save.
We should mention too. Tell us about the crease. Now, the crease, if you look at the goal area, that blue circle around the goal is the crease. That's, I think, 9 yards in radius there. Tell us about who can be in there and who can't be in there.
So defensive players can run in and out of the crease. It is a protection agent for the goalie to make sure the goalie isn't getting picked or set screens on or just getting blatantly hit.
Okay.
He's not wearing the same pads as everybody else. He's often not wearing anything on his shoulders or on his elbows, so he's a little more exposed because his weight and all the protection is double, triple, quadruple padded in his chest. Make sure we're protecting his sternum and his heart.
Now, if the ball is loose in the crease, though, the offending or the attackers can reach with their sticks and try to poke at it, right?
Yes. So you are allowed to be in the crease so long as your feet are not. It is not a perfect cylinder up and down. There's not an invisible force field there, if you will.
Okay.
It is just the line. So your stick is allowed to be inside of it. But once the goalie has a clamp or has possession of the ball, he has 4 seconds inside that crease of immunity. And if he's not out of the crease in that 4 seconds, then it is an automatic turnover.
Cole Loomis had the ball for Wenatchee as they started play again, got it into the box, but then was knocked from behind, lost the handle. Halverson with it now for the Lewis and Clark Tigers, and a shot taken out front, and a battle on the run out. That's called a run out, right? Where we go to the inline?
Any of it, yeah. Just a race.
The race for the inline, and Wenatchee Valley with the hustle is able to get the possession back. Off to its goalie, Robertson. Far side it comes. Wenatchee Valley in on the attack, and the shot, and the goal taken and scored by Kyle Schmaltz, and we are tied at 4.
This is much more the game that Wenatchee was hoping to play, especially at the beginning. They've been controlling the pace of this game, controlling the offense basically the entire game. They're now just finally getting their shots to fall. They're taking better angle shots. They're getting in there, working the ball around. It's looking good for them.
With 2:51 to go here in the first half, the goal by Schmaltz, his first of the game, gives it a tie score here at 4. And Wenatchee Valley, after giving up 3 first-quarter goals, has come storming back with 3 of its own here in the second to tie this contest at 4. Again, it'll be Jake Ryder on the faceoff for the Wenatchee Valley Thunder out there at midfield. Whistle sounds. Reiner comes up with it again for the Wenatchee Valley Thunder. Boy, he is good, isn't he?
Oh, yeah. As a freshman, he was winning those faceoffs.
Incredible. Reiner with the ball now as a substitution made for Wenatchee Valley. Cutter Wilkins comes back into the contest as the Thunder work it to Schmaltz, who just scored. He's directing traffic while racing with the ball. It's shot attempt in close, tight, but missed. And the hustle out towards the out-of-bounds line. I think Lewis and Clark's going to get the possession here. It will be out to the Tigers. And I was trying to see who did that shot up front. Was it Tilley that had the shot? Or
that was
it
Ben Higley.
Higley, okay.
Yeah, Schmaltz for the feed and then the wrap around the crease.
Speaking of Higley, he comes up with the turnover back in the towards the end line there. He'll pass it off to Schmaltz. Schmaltz looking, has a cutter coming through, and the shot attempt just wide by Cutter Wilkins. My, oh my. Good pass from Schmaltz finding Wilkins, but his shot just a little bit wide. Wenatchee Valley maintaining possession, though. So the Thunder with it. Connor Tilley picks up a fresh ball back there. And he'll pass it off to Higley. Higley works it back around the left side. Had Schmaltz cutting towards the net, but no pass. Now it's off to Tilley. Tilley spinning away from the defense. Takes a shot, hit the upright. And the ball ricochets across the ground. Still loose on the turf out there. Who's going to come up with it? Up into the air, and it is Lewis and Clark coming up with it. But that pass is rejected, but we got a whistle call, and let's see what this is. It is out to Lewis and Clark. So I don't see a penalty.
I believe it was a loose ball push, but the Tigers had the ball anyway.
All right.
The ball was in the air when the push occurred. The ball landed in the Tiger's stick. The ref didn't see that at that point.
So that's considered a technical foul, not a personal foul.
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
But then it usually is a play on in that instance.
Right.
All it is just a change in possession.
Good bump over there by Sam Junker on the defense for Wenatchee Valley. Ball was loose for a moment and then picked up by the Thunder. Coming near side behind the net was Dahlbeck, and then they get it off to the goalie. And now feed it out towards midfield. With it is Hudson. And a whistle blows. What do we get? A timeout taken by Wenatchee Valley. How many timeouts do they get per half?
I believe 3.
Okay, so just like football. So that would be Wenatchee Valley's second timeout. Lewis and Clark has used 3 timeouts, so I think they're out of timeouts. And we'll remind you that you're watching Wenatchee Valley Lacrosse here on the NCW Live channel. Thanks for those that are joining us online as well at ncwlife.com. You've got some folks that are watching online today, right?
Oh, yeah. I've told all my friends, man.
All right.
I'm excited to be here.
Very cool. Our broadcast brought to you by Walkabout Grill in Wenatchee and Leavenworth. Take a walk on the wild side. Leonard Evans Used Car Superstore, where the name means a great deal. Coming up on the broadcast schedule later on today, if you missed last weekend's matchup between Shedle Park and Wenatchee from a couple of Fridays ago, that soccer match will be broadcast here tonight at 7. And then coming up tomorrow, we'll have Shedle Park and Eastmont soccer at noon. That'll be followed by Wenatchee and Quincy soccer at 2. And then in the afternoon, we'll rewind it back to that amazing hockey series between Wenatchee and Prince George, with games at 5 and 7, including that crazy Game 6 where Wenatchee Valley won it in the closing seconds. That's all tomorrow right here on the NCW Life channel. Speaking of the Wenatchee Wild, they lost last night 3-1 in their final series, the Mainland Division Finals. And so they'll play again tonight, 7 o'clock at the Town Toyota Center. Get your tickets. Go out there and support the Wenatchee Wild as they take on the Chilliwack Chiefs. Game 2 of a best-of-7 series happening at the Town Toyota Center tonight. Boy, what a gorgeous day this has turned out to be. I think this is our best day of the spring so far.
At least.
I heard somebody say over 60 degrees today, and I believe it.
Oh, absolutely. It's nice and warm on the field. It's a perfect day for lacrosse. Just a small breeze, just a little bit of snow left in the hills. It's beautiful out here.
Absolutely. And we're all tied at 4-4. This has been quite a contest. Wenatchee Valley, after the timeouts, will have possession, and it is McCarthy with it over on the far side of the field as we look at it. Tied at 4. We're running out of time. 40 seconds left in the first half. Shot taken, but again, a block by Fox. And he'll bring it out towards midfield into the hands of Ben Hargreaves, and he lost the handle. Big hit there by Wenatchee. Ball loose again, and another check out towards midfield. We've got a flag falling as Robbie Jorgensen going to be called for a cross-check there, I believe, as he hit the man that was trying to get the ball for Lewis and Clark. The official will come near side. And he will send Jorgensen over to the penalty box with 21 seconds left. So Wenatchee going to have to play a man down here.
It looked like an illegal body check for 1 minute. Just came in high. Just good hustle play.
So Lewis and Clark will get the ball with 21 seconds left. And let's see if the Tigers can do much. Boy, most of this second quarter has been played in the attack end for Wenatchee Valley.
It was like that for the first one, too.
Yeah, that's true.
Like you...
it was just a couple of fast breaks, basically, for Lewis and Clark.
Lewis and Clark is able to push the pace in the transition, and Wenatchee just isn't communicating. The youth on the Wenatchee defense is a little apparent when that kind of happens.
Sanders has the ball on the far side. He will hold on to it with 8, with 7, with 6, and now he'll start to come in motion with 5, with 4. And is he just going to rifle it here, or just going to go to half?
Just going to carry it off the field.
He's just going to carry it off the field, hand it to the official. The whistle will sound, and that is the end of our first half of play. And what a first half it was, as Lewis and Clark jumped out to a 3-1 lead. They made it 4-1 shortly into the second, but Wenatchee Valley came back with 3 goals in the second, and we are tied at 4 as we head to halftime. We'll come back with some stats and talk about this one. We'll take a 2-minute break here on the broadcast and come back. You're watching Wenatchee Valley Lacrosse, the Thunder and the Tigers today on the NCW Live channel. We'll be right back. Welcome back here to the Apple Bowl in Wenatchee as we are ready for second half action here along with Thomas Bass. I'm Eric Granstrom on this broadcast of Wenatchee Valley Lacrosse, all tied at 4. So going to be an interesting start to the second half. Wenatchee Valley with a penalty to be served here by Robbie Jorgensen. So Wenatchee Valley a man down as Lewis and Clark will have possession as they cradled it towards the end of the half, and they'll have about 40 seconds of a man up situation here on the attack for the Tigers. It'll be Dylan Soth out there with the ball. The whistle sounds and we are underway. Soth will move forward in the box, come right side with it, and then come all the way back behind the goal. Camped in front of the goal is Soth is in front of the goal with the ball. Asa Herbst. Herbst will pass it outside. It bounces off of the turf, and then a shot attempt is wide by Mitchell Sanders. And it goes off the inline, but Lewis and Clark there to retain possession. Asa Herbst again with the start of the possession behind the goal as he will look for bodies in motion here. Wenatchee Valley on the defensive end. They'll bring it back out top to Soth. Soth over to the left side for a shot attempt, and that was blocked away. And Wenatchee Valley, nice job coming up with the ball is their goaltender, Kyle Robertson. And so we're back to even strength here on both sides, 6-on-6 lacrosse. So it is Wenatchee Valley possession, and Ben Higley will work it behind the goal, and he'll give it up into the net of Gray Coldy. Coldy comes near side to Tilley. Tilley out top, and they'll hand it off to Cole Loomis, who just checked into the game for Wenatchee Valley. Loomis picked up across the field over there by Dylan Soth. He'll feed it down on the right side, down in the corner to Higley. Higley back again behind the net, comes near side with it to Coldy. Coldy looking for some help, then kicks it back outside to Jorgensen. Jorgensen, who just served that penalty for the end of the first half infraction, feeds it across over on the right side to Tilley. Tilley down in the corner again. Wenatchee Valley working it around the horn as we go. On the offensive attack, haven't had the lead since early in the first quarter, as Wenatchee Valley scored first, but then saw Lewis and Clark score 4 unanswered until Wenatchee Valley got 3 back in the second as we're tied at 4. Now the attack here by Jorgensen. Jorgensen fended off, and so he's able to maintain the possession in the pocket, but is not able to get a shot on goal, and so he'll cross it over on the right side. Fake by Loomis. Loomis on the drive, but then did not take the shot. Defense does a nice job folding in and not giving him a window to the goal crease. Right side, it goes to Jorgensen. Jorgensen attempts and then backs it out, and then off to Tilley for a shot. Bounces in, and a nice stop again by Ben Fox, and a good defense by Lewis and Clark.
Yeah, really, it's Ben Fox out there. I mean, he's making every save that he needs to. Anything that's expected of him, he's doing. Those outside shots without a ton of mustard on him are coming in, and he's just grabbing them.
Interception and a golden opportunity for Wenatchee Valley, but the ball stripped away as Cole Loomis stepped in front, and the goalie was out of position. If he could have gotten that cleanly, Wenatchee Valley back on the offensive attack here, though, as Higley comes outside to Jorgensen. Jorgensen looking, spinning, looking again, then bumped by the defense. Going to take the shot. It bounces and is picked up by Lewis and Clark. They'll go outside on the pass attempt and then turn it over as Wenatchee Valley will come up with it as it was a little bit too tall for Dylan Soth.
Yeah, Wenatchee's doing an incredible job of riding. They're just hustling all over the ball. As soon as the goalie or one of the defenders is trying to work the ball up the field, they're just all over him.
Loomis now comes near side, and there's Nathan McCarthy, who scored 2 goals in the first half, back-to-back with about 40 seconds from each other. Now a turn and a shot attempt a little bit too high for Higley, and the ball goes off the end line. But right there to start it back for Wenatchee Valley is Gray Coldy, excuse me, and he'll feed it outside as they come around on the perimeter again, does Wenatchee Valley. Now back behind the goal to Coldy again. He'll circle it back around as Wenatchee Valley has Tilley with it. Then outside it goes to Loomis. Loomis on the attack and the shots. A little bit wide to the left, and the ball goes out of bounds on the shot, and Wenatchee Valley closest to it. Boy, Lewis and Clark likes to sag in defensively right around in front of the goal. Is that kind of typical?
Well, if you have a goalie this is the first time I've seen Ben Fox play. If you have a goalie who's giving you everything you need to on those outside shots, why not just pack in and let those guys take those outside shots and let your goalie get the free turnover?
This was a pass attempt, not a shot for Wenatchee Valley, so they do a good job of chasing it down back behind the goal as they feed it outside. And now here's a shot by McCarthy and another nice stop and a save by Ben Fox. Wow.
Now, that one I was not expecting him to save. That was McCarthy, open-handed, 2 feet on the ground, at least 85 miles an hour, 12 yards out. McCarthy scores those goals all the time. That was a big-time save by Ben Fox.
So you notice that the head of the stick for the goalies is bigger. How much bigger is it than your regular head for another stick?
Just about 3 times the size.
And a goal by Wenatchee Valley, as this time he would not be denied. Nathan McCarthy with his 3rd goal of the game for the Wenatchee Valley Thunder, and the Thunder back on top 5-4.
Yeah, if Lewis and Clark wants to get back in this game, it seems like Wenatchee has really controlled the momentum. Lewis and Clark, their advantage has been pushing the transitions and moving the ball up the field quickly. Wenatchee's made the adjustment and is stifling their clear, not allowing Lewis and Clark to get the ball on the offensive side in those transition areas.
Yeah, the field has been certainly slanted one direction. The goals that Lewis and Clark scored were transition goals. Mm-hmm. They did extend their defense out a little bit more to pester Wenatchee Valley on the defensive end. So we'll see if they change that approach here, as now they find themselves down by 1, 5-4. Wenatchee Valley out there with the faceoff. I think that's Reiner again for the Thunder. It's Thomas Halverson for the Tigers. And we get another whistle and a push, evidently, and it's going to be Wenatchee Valley ball. And Reiner will take it quickly into the attack end, into the box, as Wenatchee Valley goes behind the goal to Connor Tilley. Tilley will feed it off to Coldy. And Gray Coldy will back away behind the goal. Coldy will come out right of the goal. Lost the handle of it. Ball loose on the field. And that ball looked like it was partially kicked, and it goes out of bounds. It'll be out to Lewis and Clark. Can you kick it? I know in hockey you can kick the puck with your skate to get it back to your own stick.
You can absolutely kick it, so long as you don't kick anybody else's stick. That is called kicking lacrosse, and that is a change in possession. And then you also are not allowed to kick a player, obviously. The ball you are absolutely allowed to kick.
Good defense there by Wenatchee Valley, pestering the man who had the ball for Lewis and Clark, Dylan Soth. Tried to reverse pass and lost the handle of it, and a whistle sounds, and it's out back to Wenatchee Valley. And we're going to have to wait here before we get to action played, or are we underway? Let me look at the clock, and the clock is counting down. So we are underway here. And a goal from outside. Wow, what a shot by Robbie Jorgensen. Jorgensen near 20 yards out with the goal for Wenatchee Valley.
Just taking advantage of the confusion on the restart. The defense was trying to figure out what they were doing. Jorgensen had the ball, recognized that the clock was running, and just took a ripper.
So Jorgensen, a captain for Wenatchee Valley, comes through with the goal here in the third, and Wenatchee Valley now on top 6-4 over the Lewis and Clark Tigers. So since the 8-minute mark of the second quarter, Lewis and Clark has just been silenced here by Wenatchee Valley.
It's just Wenatchee doing what they were doing at the beginning of the half, or in the first half, I should say. Just the goals are now falling.
Yep. So out there with a face-off for Wenatchee Valley is Nathan McCarthy. Little breeze blowing off the hills, the clouds skating across the Mission Ridge. Looks like it's snowing up there, but beautiful sunshine down here on the valley floor. McCarthy trying to chase after that loose ball, but when Lewis and Clark comes up with it, and the ball knocked away there from Sanders. Coming up with it for the Tigers is Halverson. Halverson will get it into the box here for Lewis and Clark, and one of the rare times we've seen Lewis and Clark on the attack here since the first quarter. And the ball stolen away. Nice job defensively for Wenatchee Valley that time by Jax Tucker.
The freshman.
Whacked the stick, forced the turnover, came up with the ball, and now Wenatchee Valley on the far side is Sam Junker will pass it up. And with it now is McCarthy for Wenatchee Valley. He'll feed back behind the goal to Ben Higley. Talk about the offensive approach where you go back behind the goal and just kind of camp out and wait for bodies to move.
Well, what's happening there is Wenatchee's slowing the pace of the game. They're getting new, fresh legs on the field. The thing is, lacrosse is an incredibly physically demanding sport. It's a combination of sprints and jogging. You're going up and down the field. You get tired very quickly. So it's advantageous when you have the ball on the offensive to hold the ball behind the cage and let your line sub on and off.
Well, there was something the official didn't like there. He put his finger to his mouth, and I'm not sure on the substitution if that was an illegal substitution for Wenatchee or what the problem was.
I didn't see.
Turnover nonetheless for the Thunder. Lewis and Clark with the attempt, and there's a wicked shot on a check by Peyton Morris, but standing up, Cole Loomis took the shot, keeps himself alive, comes into the attack end. Boy, Loomis says, all right, fine, knock me to the ground, I'll get up and show you. Wenatchee Valley on the attack here as they swing it to the left side of the goal to Coldy. Coldy out top as they bring it out to McCarthy for Wenatchee Valley. McCarthy comes near in between the hash marks. Wenatchee Valley sending a player out and a substitute in as Loomis comes out. Reiner comes back in for the Thunder. Here comes McCarthy. On the attack right side, shot taken but missed, and the race out. I don't know if that's going to get to the inline. It will. And let's see what the official says. It is Lewis and Clark ball because they were closest to it when it went out. Another whistle sound, some more substitutions coming back and forth into the game as Lewis and Clark exchanges two men on the fly. And a shot and a goal. A turnover in the back end, and Wenatchee Valley taking advantage. Ben Higley with his first goal of the game. Wenatchee up 7-4.
Now, I know Tilley isn't the one who scored that goal, but he's the reason that goal happened. That whistle restarted. That defender had nowhere to throw the ball. He recognized it, started hassling him, started heckling him, just making sure he couldn't get a clean pass. As soon as he tried to throw it, Tilley checked his stick, fell right into the hands of Ben Higley, who was able to bury it.
A little frustration you can see from Ben Fox, the goalie for Lewis and Clark, saying, come on, guys, and need a little more help than that. It's a goal for Wenatchee Valley, and the Thunder up 7-4. All Wenatchee Valley here since the first quarter of play. Face-off out at midfield. The official making sure that the distance between the two heads is equal before he blows the whistle, finally blows the whistle. And again, Ryder trying to come up with the ball. He does again on a face-off for the Wenatchee Valley Thunder. He'll give it up to Easton Hudson. Hudson along the far side, picked up there by the defense, spins around, then feeds it out into the hands of Reiner. Reiner goes down right to Higley. Higley, who just scored moments ago, will feed it back behind the net to the Wenatchee Valley Thunder's Tilley, Connor Tilley. Then they'll feed it back outside, coming around top. On the advance is Dahlbeck. Dahlbeck backs it away, gives it up to the hands of Ryder again, as Wenatchee Valley will circle it back around behind the net. Tilley with it. Pestered back there by the defense of Lewis and Clark. Tilley wants to come around, going to take the shot and missed it. But right there to chase it down for the Thunder is Gray Coldy. Coldy will feed it off to Higley. Higley behind the net. Defender pestering him there with the long stick. Then he'll come back to Coldy. Coldy with a shot and close. It's good. Gray Coldy putting himself in the score ledger here for the Wenatchee Valley Thunder. It's now 8-4.
Just an inside roll right to the cage. Nothing you can do about it.
So Gray Coldy with his first goal of the game, and that comes with 3:05 here left in the third. And how about the Thunder and the attack throughout this game? But as you mentioned, now the balls just are finding their way into the net.
Yeah, sometimes it just takes that way, you know. It's the beginning of the game. Maybe some pregame jitters are there, especially with the youth on this team. But like I said, they're taking good shots. They just weren't falling. They're bouncing off the pipe. Ben Fox, who's having a great game. He's doing a great job commanding his defense. Just the athleticism on the Wenatchee side is really showing.
Nathan McCarthy out there on the faceoff for Wenatchee Valley against Thomas Halverson, who has had just about every faceoff here for Lewis and Clark in this game. And it is McCarthy that comes up with it. He's waxed, maintains possession. He shoots, the ball kind of stripped from him, and then it will go out of the Inline. And let's see who was closer. Wenatchee Valley was. So the Thunder will maintain possession. As it is Tilley now will start the offense for Wenatchee as the whistle sounds, and we're back in play here. Off to McCarthy out front. He's about 15 yards out in front of the goal. Now he'll come right side, and a shot taken, but right there on the save, Ben Fox again on the shot by Cutter Wilkins. And again, a fumble away and a turnover almost taken up here by Wenatchee Valley. But then it is into the midfield area. Coming up with it is Lachlan Page. Lachlan is pestered there. We got a flag thrown as we had two defenders encroach. And they're going to get a penalty on Wenatchee.
That was a push with possession in the back. That'll be a 30-second penalty for them.
So coming into the penalty box for the Thunder is Gray Coldy. So Lewis and Clark man up here with 2:23 left in this third quarter. Well, let's see. Lewis and Clark was able to take advantage of a man-up situation in the first quarter, but have been pretty much silent since.
Yeah, it looks like they've subbed out a little more senior experience in there. Jax Tucker appears to be off the field. Looks like Sam Yunker is taking his spot.
Halverson with it for the Tigers as they'll work it behind goal. Boy, with the sun on these numbers, harder to see him now. Asa Herbst with it. And the ball loose over on the far side. Wenatchee Valley pestering Sage Kreider over there on the defensive side for the Thunder. But coming up with it again is Herbst. Asa Herbst will pass it off. The ball knocked away, though, and Wenatchee Valley coming up with it. Nice play here near side by Jack Myers. Myers crosses the midfield stripe, gets a nice screen there from Tilley, and will wing it right side on the attack for Ben Higley.
Great heads-up play by Tilley to set that screen. Jack was running down the field, couldn't get his hands free. Tilley was right there with him, just set a pick.
Pretty incredible. It's difficult to keep that ball in the pocket, and you're bouncing off of guys, but the ball finally comes loose, and Lewis and Clark does come up with a turnover here. Let's see if they still have the man advantage. Yes, no, we're even strength here, as we are closing in on the end of this third quarter, and another whistle sounds, and a timeout going to be taken by Lewis and Clark. We appreciate you joining us here on the NCW Life Channel. Our broadcast brought to you by Leonard Evans Used Car Superstore, where the name means a great deal, and Walkabout Grill in Wenatchee and Leavenworth. Take a walk on the wild side, and pretty exciting news for your family, Thomas.
Yeah. My older brother had a baby today, little Jameson Thomas Bass. Feeling pretty good about that.
And that's his second child.
That's his second, yeah.
I should say he and mom. Mom's okay. okay.
Of course. Yes. Bree is lovely, recovering well. Older sister Lyndon couldn't be more excited. So, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, very exciting. Very exciting news this morning.
Now, where do they live?
They are over in Cle Washington.
Okay. So congratulations. So now an uncle times 2, is that right? Or?
Yeah, that's my second brother's offspring, if you will.
You spoil the niece so far, and now you got the nephew.
Well, I have to spoil him a little bit. He's got my namesake now. I woke up this morning, and that was the first that I had heard of it.
Really?
I got a text at about 7 a.m., about 10 minutes after it all had transpired, and I read the name Jamison Thomas Bass, and a little tear fell in my eye.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, congratulations to Mom, Dad, and grandparents, and Uncle Thomas.
Yep.
That's awesome. Well, in this 1:22 mark left of the third quarter, the timeout was taken by Lewis and Clark, their first of the second half. What do you talk about if you're the coach for Lewis and Clark here on trying to come up with something to get a score here?
What's really it's coming down to is sloppy ball handling by Lewis and Clark. Now, they're getting good looks on offense. Kyle Robertson's doing a good job of keeping it down, but their unforced turnovers are really the story of the game. Yeah. They're not able to get the ball from the defensive side to the offensive, and that's not just them. Give credit to Wenatchee's attackmen for riding so hard, but what it really comes down to is unforced turnovers for Lewis and Clark. They can't get a rhythm on offense. They can't get multiple looks at the defense. By the time that they figure something out for the defense, they've spent the whole time on the other side of the field.
And there's another missed pass here as Sanders tried to feed it outside to Soth, and we're going to whistle called.
That'll be the over and back rule.
Okay. All right. So the ball did go over the midfield stripe, and it was last touched by Lewis and Clark. So over and back, and that you say that's a new rule this year?
Just 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
So everybody's still sort of adjusting. Well, it looks like they're figuring it out right now. It might not actually be over and back.
Okay. So you had an official here near side, the referee, and then you had the field judge on the far side. He was actually closer to the ball when it went over the midfield stripe, but it was by who had touched it last, correct?
So if the possession is maintained by the team who rolled it over, so if it rolls across and then it's loose ball, then it would be Wenatchee ball. Now, Lewis and Clark has those long sticks on that side of the field. They're allowed to scoop it and push it and keep it on that side of the field. They just weren't able to then.
Gotcha. So Nathan McCarthy with it after the turnover here for the Wenatchee Valley Thunder. They'll go down behind the goal, and Schmaltz had it. He'll give it up to Loomis. Loomis near side, back outside to McCarthy. McCarthy cradling that ball as he looks for his opportunity, and he'll pass it off, and a close-in shot taken, and a goal scored for Wenatchee Valley, and this time for the Thunder, it's Connor Tilley on the goal.
Yep, Tilley's had several looks at that exact shot today, just hasn't been able to get him. Either he was being heckled by a defender or just missed. Now he finally was able to put one in the back of the net in regulation in an unsettled or any settled situation, I should say.
So Connor Tilley with his first goal of the day and puts Wenatchee Valley on top 9-4. Was talking with Coach Brandon Parker about this the other night. So what's a typical score for lacrosse? I mean, you got two teams that can put the ball in the net, and he says, 12-10 is kind of that's a typical game that you see if you have two really good teams.
Yeah, I would say a low-scoring game is in the 5-goal, the 6-goal area. The high-scoring game is going to be more towards your 15 or 20 points. An average score would be somewhere around 10-10.
Jake Ryder again wins the faceoff for the Wenatchee Valley Thunder, so quickly they are on the attack as they'll come near side to Tilley, who just scored moments ago. Tilley feeds outside to Loomis. Loomis crosses it over as the wind kind of whips up a little bit here at Wenatchee Valley. As Mason Dahlbeck had it, he'll feed down in the corner, and the ball loose behind the goal on the field. And bodies scrambling for it. Lewis and Clark comes up with it after the turnover by Wenatchee Valley. Not many of those in this game. Dylan Soth up the far sideline, tried to pass it to his teammate, but again, kind of a nasty pass there. But a good job by defense. So I should give credit there for Wenatchee Valley to Cole Hansen. He was denying that pass, and that'll be the end of our third quarter. So we'll take a 60-second break and come back. One more quarter to go. Wenatchee Valley came from behind. They lead at 9-4. Let's see if they can hang on. As we come back, you're watching Wenatchee Valley Thunder Lacrosse on the NCW Life Channel. Welcome back once again here to the Apple Bowl in Wenatchee. A couple of goals on the day. Make that 3 goals on the day for Nathan McCarthy. And the Wenatchee Valley Thunder have spread the ball around generously to other players here as they lead it 9-4 now over the Lewis and Clark Tigers. It was Wenatchee that took the lead in the first quarter on a goal by Cole Loomis, and then 4 unanswered by Lewis and Clark as Erbst, Lademan scored 2 and Soth scored 1. And it looked like it was going to be a Tiger day here initially at the Apple Bowl, but then Wenatchee just woke up like crazy and had that ball start finally finding its way into the back of the nets, and a couple of goals in a row by McCarthy. And then Schmaltz before half tied the game at halftime, and it's been all Wenatchee Valley here in the second half on goals by McCarthy, Jorgensen, Higley, Coldy, and Tilley for Wenatchee Valley as they now lead it 9-4. So, Thomas Bass, at this point, do you go into a prevent defense or you just keep on the attack?
Not necessarily. It's still early in the fourth quarter here. Like you just saw, 5 goals happens very quickly.
Yeah.
This sport can happen very, very quickly. A couple years ago, Nathan McCarthy's older brother, Nick McCarthy, on the attack, he scored 3 goals in 45 seconds.
Wow.
Just him.
Wow.
It was a make-it-take-it situation, and that's what you got to love about lacrosse. He hadn't done anything all game, and in the third quarter, the faceoff man, I believe it was Corey Leanders, fed him, I think, all 3 times.
Wow.
Yep, and just in 45 seconds.
That's incredible.
Just 3 goals. So you definitely don't go into a prevent defense yet. What you're doing is working. You just let it ride.
Well, and early in the season like this, I mean, this is only their second full game that they've played. I imagine that Coach Parker is saying, hey, we got to work things, and we have a lot to work on here, so we're going to play this whole game. So it'll be Jake Reiner on the faceoff and Thomas Halverson for Lewis and Clark. And again, Reiner comes up with it. Lost the handle for a moment, and we got a push, and it's going to go into the hands of Lewis and Clark as we changed ends here. So Lewis and Clark going to our left, and a fake it attempt on the ball by Mitchell Sanders. Sanders with it out right side. Now Sanders will take the shot, and it's partially deflected and then comes up into the webbing of Kyle Robertson's stick. The goalie's been up to the task since that first quarter here for the Wenatchee Valley Thunder. Now Robertson going to try to set the offense as he'll get it up at midfield. Nice pass to Cole Loomis. Loomis up the far side now. Will settle in, be inside 20 yards to the goal. He'll feed down in the corner to Gray Coldy. Coldy back outside to Loomis. Cross it comes to McCarthy. McCarthy back to Loomis. Loomis down to Coldy. He's got a goal on the day today for Wenatchee Valley. Again outside to Loomis. Loomis checked out there. Gives it up to McCarthy. McCarthy going to fire a shot. And again, Ben Fox up to the challenge. Ball loose in the crease area. And then picked up by Lewis and Clark. As Rory Babin comes up with it for the Tigers. And they'll throw one all the way out to midfield. And now a check and a body tumbling. Meanwhile, Wenatchee Valley came up with the ball as Sam Junker had it, but then lost it. And now Lewis and Clark with the ball, a little bit high on the toss. And so the pass attempt is loose, but then Lewis and Clark comes up with it again. Easton Hudson there, pestered by McCarthy. And losing it at midfield again, Lewis and Clark. But the Tigers do maintain possession here as Wilkins has it. Wilkins now feeds left on the drive. And no shot but a pass. The pass is loose. Good defense back there for Wenatchee Valley by Ryder. And the Thunder come up with it. Pass on the far side on the outlet. Fumbling it around was Hudson. And helping him out there was Coldy, as Coldy gets it into the attack zone here for the Wenatchee Valley Thunder.
Yep, Lewis and Clark just sloppy ball handling, not able to move the ball up the field, not able to get an offensive possession there. A wasted opportunity there with little time left.
Jorgensen back into the contest for Wenatchee Valley will receive the pass from McCarthy. So Robbie Jorgensen, who also has a goal in this one, will feed down right side to Ben Higley. Higley will come back behind the goal. That 15-yard zone there back behind the goal towards the end line. Will feed it over on the left side to Schmaltz. Schmaltz, again, as Wenatchee Valley circles it around on the perimeter to Coldy. Coldy off to McCarthy. McCarthy looked inside, now comes back outside to Coldy. Coldy looking for help, and now we're going to get a whistle, and this is away from the play, and they're going to say that Cutter Wilkins evidently being a little bit too pushy down there. And so the ball will go over to Lewis and Clark at a quick drive and a score for Lewis and Clark by Dylan Soth. So the transition quickly happened. They got the ball in play, and right down the field goes Soth, and he puts Lewis and Clark on the board for the first time since early in the second quarter.
Yeah, what happened there? Just a little miscommunication. Defense has to get back on defense. That's just the way it is. Those quick restarts, it's why you love lacrosse. It's a fast-paced game. Goals can happen at any time. That's why you're not going to go into a prevent defense if you're Wenatchee. This game can turn around at any time.
So it's 9-5 now. Wenatchee Valley holding on to a 4-goal lead, or 3-goal lead, 4 goals.
4.
As the face-off will happen out there at midfield. Again, it is Reiner for Wenatchee Valley, who's won most of these that he is contested for on the face-off. And they did have a different body out there for Lewis and Clark on the face-off that time. It wasn't Halverson, it was Sanders. And Sanders, I believe, is a coach's kid. Ball loose still on the attack side of midfield for Wenatchee Valley. And coming up with it is Garrison Coley, who's in there. And Coley, after helping out with the possession, comes out of the contest as Wenatchee Valley works it back behind the net to Schmaltz. Schmaltz feeds outside to McCarthy. Circling around the net, looking for a crease, looking for a spot was Coley down there, but McCarthy still holds the ball out top. Across the field it goes to Higley. Higley down to Jorgensen. Jorgensen just eating up some clock here with 8 minutes to just a little change left in this contest in regulation. That's something we should mention, Thomas. Do we go overtime, or how does it go if it's a tie? Here's a try and a goal by McCarthy.
That was him, yeah.
Nathan McCarthy with the attack, and it kind of lulled me into sleep and lulled the defense into sleep, and suddenly McCarthy with a shot and a goal.
Yeah, just went right past the goalie. I mean, it was stick side high. The goalie just didn't expect him to shoot because he thought they were in just a stall offense like we all did.
So Nathan McCarthy with yet another goal. That's his 4th of the contest with 7:58 to go here in the 4th quarter. So we were talking about overtime. How does that work?
So overtime, it will be golden goal, I believe. Now, so the important thing to recognize here is that before the end of the game, there's going to be 2 minutes. There's going to be a 2-minute warning. The leading team, if they are on offense, has to keep that ball inside of the box. It's a way of keeping the game interesting, so you don't just hang out at midfield and run around in circles.
Okay, interesting. Well, the ball was handled for a moment by Jake Reiner on the faceoff, but then Lewis and Clark came up with it. Falling down was Matt Miller, who had the ball momentarily. Miller will come out of the contest, and it will go out to the Tigers for possession here as Sanders has it. Gets it into the box. Directing traffic. Cross-field pass it goes. And now with it, Ladyman. Will Ladyman with a couple of goals in this one for Lewis and Clark. Tigers trying the answer to the goal by McCarthy. Again, a little bit sloppy on the pass. The ball last touch as it goes out of bounds by Wenatchee Valley, so it'll be out to Lewis and Clark. Mitchell Sanders comes out of the contest. Back in comes Dylan Soth as Lewis and Clark trying to keep fresh legs out there. They got a smaller roster than Wenatchee Valley. And look like fewer players that have been in the contest, so not as many substitutions here for Lewis and Clark. Soth with it to the right of the goal, looking for the shot, bounces in high and then goes over the back of the nets. Lewis and Clark maintaining possession as it's Herbst with it. Herbst cutting across in front of the goal, picked up by the defense, whips a shot and scores.
Wenatchee really needed to slide there. They needed to play somebody on body. Those guys that he just ran through are only swinging at his stick. You can't stop a player by just swinging at his stick. Somebody has to body him up. Somebody has to get in front of him and, at least give him a bump, a push or something. Everybody just kept swinging their stick at his stick. He was able to move his stick away, just ran right through the middle of Wenatchee's defense and was able to put it in the back of the net.
So Asa Herbst scored Lewis and Clark's first goal in the first period and now scores again here in the 4th with 6:52 to go, and we're a long way from over on this one as it is now 10-6. And back out to face off is Thomas Halverson for Lewis and Clark. Jake Reiner for Wenatchee Valley. So the sticks need to be parallel to the midfield stripe. How many inches apart? Is it 6 inches apart? Or
as far as
how many their sticks on the face-off? How far apart do they have?
Just the ball width.
Okay, just the ball width. And a double whistle, and they're going to say that Reiner did something illegally out there on the face-off, so it is out to Lewis and Clark. And again, an attempt here for the Tigers, and a shot misses wide to the left by Thomas Halverson. Tigers maintain possession, though, as they had a man near the end line. As they start again with the possession here, Asa Erbst runs things back behind the net, flings it outside to Peyton Morris. Morris out top, it comes to Sanders. Sanders circling over, then feeds right side, and a low slung shot over there is a little bit wide by Ladyman. And again, we'll go out to Lewis and Clark. 6:17 left in this regulation of the fourth quarter, 10-6 score. Lewis and Clark trying to come back here against the Wenatchee Valley Thunder. Peyton Morris with it here near side. They go out top, and Ladyman had it, lost it, but they are able to maintain the possession as Erbst comes up with it behind the goal. Now he comes out and gets a check out there as he tries to make the attack attempts. He'll come way outside, then cross it over to Ladyman. Ladyman back here near side to Sanders. Sanders with a shot. It'll go out of bounds. And again, out to Lewis and Clark. Whistle brings it into play. Start the clock again with 5:44 to go here in regulation. A little bit high pass and a good check out front by Wenatchee Valley. Give credit there on the defense to Sam Yunker as he put that one. And now Wenatchee Valley in transition. A tap attempt and trying to come up with the ball is Ben Higley. He does. Higley comes up with it back there. Now crosses it over on the left side into the net of Gray Coldy. Coldy feeds outside to Cole Loomis. Loomis off to McCarthy. Nathan near side. Feeds it off to Connor Tilley. Tilley, they go back again, and it is Ben Higley back there. Higley feeds outside. Again, Wenatchee Valley working on the perimeter, just kind of circling it around, looking for a gap in that defense. And here with the drive, Loomis with the shot. It's kicked away, and McCarthy able to maintain possession for the Thunder. He'll feed back behind the net to nice sweeping shot out front by Cutter Wilkins. And Cutter he's had 3 or 4 shots on goal today, but it is just not finding a way into the net.
And he wants that one back. He was unimpeded to the goal. The guy who slid to him way overshot, and he just missed one there. It just happens.
Wilkins gave it up to Coldy. Coldy now works behind the net as he'll set the offense here. Feeds inside. Higley had it go away from him. Ball loose out in front of the crease. It's still being fumbled around and comes up into the stick of Ben Higley. Bigley here near side will feed back behind the net over to Cutter Wilkins. Wilkins yet front and a shot taken and goal by Greg Coldy. His second of the contest answers back for Wenatchee Valley. It's now 11-6.
This is the fun part of lacrosse. You get some desperation shots from both sides. The defense has to come out and pressure the ball. They need takeaways. They need possessions. Those possessions that were in the beginning of the game that they started throwing away, Lewis and Clark that is, that Lewis and Clark started turning the ball over unforced, they're coming back to haunt them because they need to come out. They need to get that possession back.
So Coldy with his second goal here in the contest for the Wenatchee Valley Thunder with 4:05 to go in the fourth, makes it an 11-6 contest. We mentioned that Wenatchee Valley was on the road at Selah last night, came up with a 16-2 win. Much tighter contest here today against a little more competition in Lewis and Clark. Again, Wenatchee Valley wins the faceoff as the Thunder bring it into the offensive end. Easton Hudson had it. Now they'll feed over left side into the stick of Jake Reiner. Reiner will back it away, feed it back to Dahlbeck. Dahlbeck runs the offense, comes right side to Carlson, who just checked in. Andrew lost the handle. Lewis and Clark comes up with it. Turnover. Matt Miller comes up with it. He'll cross midfield and then lose the handle himself. And Jake Reiner's right there saying, thank you very much. I'll take that. And we'll go back on the attack. Reiner up the left side. Stops at about the 30-yard line here on the football surface. and then kicks it outside to Dahlbeck. Mason Dahlbeck comes near side to Andrew Carlson. Again, he's in there, fresh legs for the Wenatchee Valley Thunder. Right side down to Ben Higley. Higley looking, then feeding back behind. Tilley has it now for the Thunder. Tilley feeds outside, and here's a swipe at attempt, and the ball trickled away from Dahlbeck, and now they'll feed inside again for the shot of the score by Greg Coldy. 2 in a row. It's now 12-6.
Again, Lewis and Clark is just having to pressure the offense. They have to come out. They're making mistakes, not because of any lapse in judgment, but because they have to fly out there. They have to be in a takeaway style defense, and in that takeaway style defense, you sacrifice inside stuff.
And we're going to get a timeout taken here by Lewis and Clark as their head coach, Damon Sanders, wants to talk it over here as the Wenatchee Valley Thunder have answered back after a couple of goals in the fourth by Lewis and Clark. Coldy with 2 goals back-to-back, and the Thunder now lead at 12-6. We appreciate you watching on the NCW Life channel here today, on Channel 12 on local Channel 19 on Charter, and of course we're streaming live as well on ncwlife.com. And our broadcast brought to you by Walkabout Grill in Wenatchee and Leavenworth. Take a walk on the wild side. Also by Leonard Evans Used Car Superstore, where the name means a great deal. We also appreciate our continued sports coverage and presentation by AC Checker Taxi Cab, Neil's Boots and Shoes, and Quick Lube and Tune. Along with Thomas Bass, I'm Eric Grandstrom. The Wenatchee Valley Thunder trying to go 2-0 here on the early season with the game last night at Selah. Here at home today against Lewis and Clark, and we've got 4 of these, 3 more broadcasts scheduled for following Saturdays right here on the Wenatchee Valley TV station, NCW Life. And Thomas, I hope you're having fun with this today.
I'm having a blast. I'm really thankful for you guys. Thank you, Eric.
Absolutely. Now, we'd hope to get you on the broadcast next week, but that pens you've got a tournament in town, right?
Yes, so I coach the 7th, 8th grade team. I used to coach the high school team up here. We decided that it would be better to relocate me, both for the program and for my lifestyle as well, to the younger age group. So we have our tournament down at Walla Walla Park. I believe it's called the Icebreaker Jamboree.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. That'll be next Saturday.
Yep, a week from today.
Okay.
Yep, and then following Sunday. And then we're just doing game after game after game, 20-minute running halves, just good fun, everybody getting outside.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, huge show up, huge invitation list. Everybody's going to come down, lots of lacrosse being played.
McCarthy with the win of the faceoff and quickly ran it into the attack end for Wenatchee Valley. The ball was loose after a feed attempt to Tilley. Tilley lost the handle, but Wenatchee Valley maintains possession as Coldy has it now over on the left corner over there, and he'll bring it back outside for McCarthy. Substitutions for Wenatchee Valley. Robertson back into the ball game here, or Jorgensen, I should say, as he comes up with the ball here near side. He'll feed down to Higley. Higley back outside to Jorgensen. Jorgensen crosses in front of the goal, looking, not going to shoot it. He'll back it away here as the clock continues to wind down. Just over 2 minutes to go in this fourth quarter. Jorgensen with the drive, lost the handle just as he was about to shoot, and Lewis and Clark comes up with it. Now on the attack, let's see if the Tigers can take advantage. With the ball is Sanders. Sanders will feed left. Crossdale attempt made, but the ball loose. The shot was taken by Peyton Morris, but the ball came squirting out of his net, and now Nathan McCarthy comes up with it. He's whacked from behind on the attempt, and now his pass a little bit too high, and I think they're going to say that's over to Lewis and Clark as he tried to get it to Coldy, but the pass too high for Jorgensen, or from McCarthy, I should say.
Yeah, that little whack from behind was maybe illegal. I mean, by the rule standards it was, but I mean, no harm, no foul. The ref was right there, saw it. He would rather have the game continue. I'm sure McCarthy would rather have the game continue there instead of getting that penalty. He wants to go down and work the offense.
A guy as big as McCarthy, too. I mean, that's like taking a fly swatter to a tank.
That's quite the analogy. Yeah, but it's not too far off.
Coldy now with it after the turnover at midfield. Wenatchee Valley with it, and this wind really picking up here late in this game, and it is 1:04 left. So Wenatchee Valley up by 6. Looks like they're going to remain undefeated on the season here. Early going for the Wenatchee Valley Thunder on this long season in the spring here throughout the state of Washington. U.S. Lacrosse here in Washington, they've got teams all over the place. And again, we were talking about that tournament next weekend at Walla Walla Point Park. There'll be a great chance if you want to watch some more lacrosse and kind of get a feel for the game, head down to Walla Walla Point Park next Saturday. And also be sure and go online to the Wenatchee Valley Lacrosse's website. They've got their entire schedule posted there. You can follow the action both home and away throughout the season for the Wenatchee Valley Thunder, and these high school kids certainly appreciate it. We've got most of the high school kids, we haven't mentioned that, they're from Wenatchee High School. We've got, a couple, let's see, one from Eastmont and a couple out of the Wenatchee River Academy. But mostly Wenatchee Panthers out there on the field here for the Wenatchee Valley Thunder.
Yeah, every year it's less than a handful of kids who aren't from Wenatchee. It's really nice to be able to draw from those athletes, I should say. Really nice to use their facilities, etc.
A drive attempt, and just as the whistle sounds, so too does the horn, and everybody comes sprinting out to congratulate their goalie, who did a great job today, Kyle Robertson, for the Wenatchee Valley Thunder. They head that direction to congratulate him as the Lewis and Clark team comes out to give condolences to their goalie today. And Wenatchee Valley, just the attack and persistency, I think you could say, as that ball finally started finding its way inside the net for Wenatchee Valley as they win it by a final of 12-6. And we will take a 4-minute break and come back, and we'll have Mr. Bass on camera with yours truly, and we'll put a little wrap on this one. A nice bow today on a sun-splashed afternoon at the Apple Bowl in Wenatchee, as again the final score is Wenatchee Valley 12, Lewis and Clark 6. We'll take a break and come back with your postgame on the way next here on the NCW Live channel. Welcome back once again here to the Apple Bowl, and our first lacrosse broadcast is in the books, and Wenatchee Valley comes out on top by a final of 12-6. Along with Thomas Bass, I'm Eric Granstrom. Well, Thomas, the Wenatchee Valley Thunder, it took them a while to get things going, but once they did, boy, look out.
Yeah. What it really came down to was their persistence and their ability to control the pace of the game. They were getting good looks at the beginning of the game, the first half. They were getting good looks inside, good looks outside. Ben Fox, gave him credit. That was the goalie for Lewis and Clark there. He was making outstanding saves. Wenatchee eventually was able to just start finding the back of the net, doing the same thing that they were doing the whole time.
I would say, we don't have the final stats in front of us, but it was at least a 3-1 margin as far as shots on goal. I would say Wenatchee Valley over Lewis and Clark on the day.
Just as far as possession time alone, absolutely. Without looking at the stats, the feel of the game was very much dominated on the Wenatchee side. The scoreboard ended up showing that, but at the half, we weren't exactly sure.
Well, 4 goals on the day for Nathan McCarthy. The ball distributed well for Wenatchee Valley. A lot of shots on goal. It was nice to see that, who was it, Tilley that finally got on the score column today, and Ben Higley too. Those guys were kept shooting and finally got it in the net.
They were getting open looks. They were persistent. They were patient. They were they were running the offense. They were doing what they needed to do. What ended up happening is what happens in lacrosse when you start doing the same thing, just getting that rhythm down, good things happen.
Well, thanks for joining us on the broadcast today. I had a great time working with you today, and I know you got that tournament next weekend. Hopefully we can team up again here.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much, Eric.
You bet. Thomas Bass, I'm Eric Granstrom. Thanks again to Uriah Darby running the cameras today, and of course to the woman who makes it all happen back in the studios, Becca Freemuth, our producer-engineer. Again, the Wenatchee Valley Thunder get the victory here today by a final of 12-6 over Lewis and Clark. They're now 2-0 on the season. Thanks for watching Wenatchee Valley Lacrosse. We'll do it again soon right here on the NCW Live channel. Have a good afternoon, everybody.
Thanks for watching Wenatchee Valley Lacrosse on the NCW Life channel. Today's broadcast has been presented by Walkabout Grill, Leonard Evans Used Cars Superstore. Your source for high school sports throughout the year is the NCW Life channel.